Hi, Ricardo. Lovely to see you again. And it was only 10 days ago that we were together in Rio, and now we're on the webinar. So we've got 4 races that we're going to look at. We're going to start off with the Gran Premio Brazil. That obviously we were there live for that race, and I think you're going to do 2 things, aren't you? You're going to A, show the video, and B, put the chart up that we've got with our figures on.
Yeah, hi Phil, hi everyone. It's the first webinar of 2025. We are planning to be together in 3 or 4 sessions this year. I think three, Phil. I think 3.
3, I think. I think 3. Yeah.
That's the first one.
Okay, shall I go first and just give you my thoughts on the race?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so there were two parts to this race that we had to make a decision on. First of all, what horse to use as the guide to the level of the race, and then secondly, what to call the margin of victory of Sincel, because normally we would call ahead 1 point, but obviously we know all the details about the jockey easing off and waving and so on. So I decided to use the 4th horse, Macarocha, as my guide to the level. His pre-race rating was 112, and so I took the view that I thought he'd performed to 112. He's underperformed a little for his last 2 races, but you can see if you look at his past performances, 3 runs ago he had a 112 performance when he was second to Nakayama in February over 1600 meters, and I think he had a good excuse last time because the ground was very heavy. So I think I just ignored that race when he performed to 95, and I thought, no, I'm perfectly happy to have Macarocha performing to 112. Ethereum has obviously, as a filly, she gets 2 kilos, which is 4, so that makes it 108 as opposed to his 112, but she's beaten him by half a length, which is 1, so she comes out as 109. And then Valparaiso, the neck I called nothing, and so therefore he was 113, and I decided to call the margin to Sincel 2 because I thought he was at least half a length, maybe more clear when the jockey started to ease down. So I thought he was deserving of 115. Sincel to me looks to be an improving horse. He's only young, so I was more than happy to have him on 115, using Macarocha as the guide to the level of the race. And just looking down past Macarocha, then you've got Gallo White, and he's 4 lengths behind. I called that 6 points, and therefore I had him going running to 106 compared with Macarocha's 112. I think if you want to go on to how you assessed it, Ricardo, because I think you just called that 5 rather than 6, didn't you?
Yeah, Phil, first of all, the race was brilliant in terms of not every single horse involved was a good one. So the first 4 are 3-year-olds, and a 3-year-old filly involved, and she was the best 3-year-old that we have in Brazil. She beat the subsequent winner of the GP for mares on the same weekend, same festival, Night of Rose. So she beats Night of Rose by 4 lengths. Then she go against the males in the GP Brazil and performed well enough, being 3rd, and Night of Rose running against the mares with no Ethereum there, won it. So it was good. I use Gallo White and Ethereum. In fact, Gallo White was the first 4-year-old, and he was the speedster, the long time leader, and he was a grade 2 winner in 2000 meters, running in front. So I think the level 108, 107 that he always performed is established since S16, as well as Ethereum, which he was 15 or 14 and running 10. It's with 2 kilos allowance would be like running in his level. So the level of GP Brazil normally it's between 16 and 14, 13. I think this race was at the highest level, and the time of the race also represents this because 2:24 and 30 was the best time in the last 8 years at least. So I think Sincel winning this race can be in the world rankings in the end of the year, and let's see what expects because he can go to the Breeders' Cup, to the Breeders' Cup turf in November. And also he has the Latino-Americano, which is going to be in October in Rio, the same racetrack he won to grade 1. So the owners, they need to make a decision, Latino-Americano or Breeders' Cup or both of them. I don't know.
Because am I right in thinking the Grand Premier was a win and you're in race for Breeders' Cup?
Exactly. Yeah? Exactly.
Well, so it would be great to see him. I mean, be fantastic to see him go to Breeders' Cup because as handicappers, we always want to see horses from different parts of the world run against each other because then it gives us more confidence that the levels that we've chosen are appropriate. And it's not often that South American horses go and run against horses from other countries. So it would be great if he goes. However, it makes a lot of sense to me to stay in Brazil and go and win another big race.
Yeah, well, the last horse that won the GP Brazil and went to run the Breeders' Cup, he won a heavy, very soft ground here in Brazil, and obviously it's totally different what he faced there in US at that time. So at least this horse is it's a horse that is a 3-year-old. He loves good to firm and good ground, good going. And the owners, they are the owners of Planetário, which was a great winner in Brazil. He won the Derby Paulista in São Paulo, and then in US he won at least 2 grade 1, 2 grade 2s, grade 3s over there in California. So they have experience with, I think, Rich Mandela, the trainer. So it's going to probably this horse Sincel is going to have an international career.
I think the other little thing to point out is that we've both got Valparaiso, the second horse, improving a little. So I've got him improving by 1. You've got him improving by 2, and I think you'll find that handicappers all over the world in a Group 1 like this, it would be perfectly reasonable to see the second horse improve by 1 or maybe 2 from their previous best. So we're within 1 of each other in our levels, and I suspect I haven't seen any of the others so far, but I suspect that most people will be similar to us.
Yeah, probably. And well, the winner of the last GP Brazil Bataille was 7, not too far. So the race was good. This horse, the second horse, maybe it's one off. Let's see, because this horse he broke like 3 lengths behind. So he raced totally off the pace, and from the inside line, that forgotten running, there's no chance for the rider, and suddenly he found some ground to go. So this is the mystery of this race, but let's see the future.
Well, and of course, because of the way things worked out, he only nearly won it.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm perfectly happy having Valparaiso improving a little bit for in this race, you know. And as you say, he came from a long way back. I mean, he's staying on at the end, and I think some of the other horses are dropping back because they've gone, as you quite rightly say, it was a very fast run race. So some of the horses that had been prominent in the early stages of the race, they were falling away towards the end, and Valparaiso was a closer.
Exactly. And Sincel, remember, he was fourth entering the straight, like 3-4 lengths ahead of the fifth, sixth horses behind. So he was on the pace, and it was a very good performance. So
I fully agree with you.
move on to.
So should we move on to the Estrellas Classic? Let's move to Argentina.
Yeah, let's see. So we are seeing the numbers of the trio, the Grand Premio Estrellas Classic. Remember that Estrellas, it's not a racetrack race. It's a Breeders' Association race race. So they changed this year. After 2 years in a row in San Isidro, they went to Palermo, and of course the main races are totally on dirt. So it's different from the last 2 years that they have Vundu winning the Estrellas Classic 2,000 meters on turf in San Isidro, and 2 years ago Nathan, he also won in San Isidro. The last Estrellas Classic in Palermo was won back in 2022 by Durazo, and he was agreed in 114.
Well, Need You Tonight, I had him performing to 114 last time, and I used Endor Rai as my guide, who's had a pre-race rating of 107. And I think, and you used Endor Rai as well. And I think by the look of it, the only difference that we have is how much we call the 2.5 lengths. I watched it again yesterday and again this morning, and I thought that Need You Tonight won the race very, very easily. So although the official distance is 2.5 lengths, I called the winning distance. I think that Need You Tonight could have won by 3.5 lengths. So I called the margin 7, which made him 114. And of course, it was quite neat that, because obviously I had him performing to 114 last time as well. And you felt that he was you only called the margin 5, Ricardo, yeah?
Yeah. Well, in fact, the problem was the second horse, Endor Rai, which is always running against Needed Tonight, and this margin 2.5 was the shortest one. So, and considering Endor Rai is a 5-year-old, and he never ever have more than 107. I struggle to go with Needed Tonight more than 12, but I have no, because I had him 16 running and winning in the República Argentina, which he beats Endor Rai, I think by 8 lengths. I think it was like this. Now it's 2.5. So that's why I just think Needed Tonight faced no opposition. He didn't have Crazy Talent against him. The danger was the 3-year-old Holy Rim, which was an improving 3-year-old. And so I think he won. Probably the difference would be maybe we can go to 14 like you, Phil, but it's not a race, in my opinion, that confirm the 16 or the improvement that we gave him by winning the the República Argentina. So
Yeah.
that was my conclusion. I use 4 pounds below those races, and I think he used the same level needed tonight, and the others the same. So that's why the difference.
Yeah, I suppose it looked sort of neat for me in that I had Need You Tonight performing to 114 last time, and I think you guys had him performing a bit higher, yeah.
Yeah, 16.
But I had him 114, so it looked neat for me to have him performing to 114 here. Endor Rise rating is 107, so it looked neat to have him performing to 107. And then Holy Rim, he carried half a kilo overweight. You can see we've got the 58 there in red, and he's what, 3/4 of a length or so behind Endor Eye. So I thought that his performance was 107 as well. So I ended up having 3 guides to the level of the race. I'd Need You Tonight, Endor Eye, and Holy Rim. And obviously, as handicappers, the more guides you get to the level of the race, the more confident you are that you've probably got the level right. You know, there are some times where you just can't find a guide, and you have to look at other issues. Sometimes you can find 1, maybe 2, but in this race, I felt that I could find myself 3 guides, and so that made me reasonably confident about the level of the race. And I suppose the only real difference between you and I, Ricardo, is what we call the margin of victory. I thought that Need You Tonight won very comfortably, so I called it 7, and you called it 5. You know, that's just a difference of opinion in our outlook on the race, really.
Yeah, and another thing to consider when I thought about the República Argentina, the time of that race was 1:59:73. This race was 1 seconds and 30 decimals. So even the time confirmed, in my opinion, shows that that race, República Argentina, was because of the presence of crazy talent, probably much better than this one. Although they were both grade ones and the same horse won. So sometimes the owner said, "Wow, my horse won again, the grade 1. How this rating is not going higher?" And you think so that's ratings. It's not cumulative.
You're absolutely right, and I think that what people really need to do is look at the column which has got pre-race rating on it, and if you look down there, you've got Need You Tonight 114. The next highest is Acento Final on 111. Then you've got Oliger 108 and One Thing 108, and then Endor Ryan, Holy Rim 107. So handicappers all over the world, who did we think would win this race before the race took place? We all thought that Need You Tonight was going to win. And what happened? Need You Tonight won. So that doesn't automatically mean that the horse's rating goes up. He has to have shown improved form or better form to go up. So just because a horse wins a race, it doesn't necessarily have to go up. You know, we thought that Need You Tonight would win the race easily. And what happened? He won the race easily. So there was no reason in my mind to put him up at higher than 114. And Ricardo, you had him actually slightly below his best as well in the race.
Exactly. I think the race was not strong enough, you know, to make this horse improve. So he's clear the best of the class of the 3-year-olds. There's no doubt. and he's one of the best 2,000 meters dirt race in Argentina. He beat Crazy Talent by 3, but let's see what the future waits for this horse.
Yeah,
so let's
I agree, and I think if when we look back at the Gran Premio Brazil, you know, the ratings of the horses there were 113, 112, 114, 112, 19, 11, 13, 10, 12, 13, 10. They were all in the low teen area, you know, so that was a way stronger race than Need You Tonight's race, you know. So as handicappers, we're always just a little bit nervous of promoting a horse that wins when, what did we think? We thought it would win. So, you know, you're only going to promote him when you feel that his performance has shown progression and improvement. And in this case, I don't think either of us, well, I know neither of us believe that he showed improvement. But he's a seriously nice horse, and the thing I like about him more than anything else is he's incredibly consistent.
And he is, but if we look, if we think that he was like 16, the same level as the Presidente da República, the República Argentina, probably he would drag Endorai to a rating of 109 or 110, which was not good.
Yeah, and we'd be very worried about, you know, Holy Rim, you know, all of a sudden he's 109, 110, you know, you'd have to be, and he's only finished 4th in the race, so you'd just be a little bit wary of, as the word that we use all the time in our handicappers meetings is, I think most of us would believe that Holy Rim would be flattered if he was moved up to 109, 110. But he's got to deserve it. And for finishing 4th, I'm not so sure that's such a fantastic performance.
And his pre-rating was achieved in a listed race,
Absolutely,
the same horse Endorai. So in the big one, he couldn't beat Endorai. So that's exactly why we always say about the levels and good horses dragging not so good horses.
Yeah, we always worry about, you know, that particular point, you know, that the less good horses get closer to the very good horses than we perhaps thought that they would, and all of a sudden they have a rating which is exaggerated a little bit. So we're always a little bit scared of giving them too much credit for finishing 4th or 5th or 6th.
Exactly. So moving to the next one.
Yeah, should we go to the distaff?
Yeah, the distaff. Let me.
And this is a really interesting race, I think.
The Conifees.
Yep.
This is the same situation. The classic moving from the Estrellas moving from San Isidro to Palermo. The last 2 years, this race was run on turf in San Isidro, and it's interesting that even in 2022, on dirt in Palermo, this race was 2,000 meters, and now it's 1,800 meters. So
that's because of the difference in racetrack, is it, Ricardo?
Yeah, yes, probably.
Okay.
And I think, well, they could run this race in the same distance as the classic, but they decided to reduce 200 meters. So for fillies, it's 1,800, and for males, the classic is 2,000 meters. So
yeah. Well, I think what we both did here is we used the winner as our guide, the winner and the second as our guide. Is that correct?
exactly, Conifees winning again. She has 3 wins in 2 grade 3s, now the grade 1. But again, it's the same case. It's even winning, keep winning, difficult to go higher.
I agree. Very difficult to go higher because if you look at the third and the fourth and the fifth horses, they go into the race rated 105, 106, and 103, and even at the level that we've got to promote them a little. But
Yeah.
if we put Coney Fizz on 112, then you'd have International Look having to be promoted by 4 or 5. You'd have Noche Alta having to be promoted by 3 or 4. You'd have Titmus having to be promoted by 2 or 3. And you're starting to get placed horses who are given a rise when they're not really deserving of it. And again, all over the world, handicappers are very cautious about that. So there's nothing wrong in handicapping in a graded race using the winner or the second as the guide. You don't have to use the fourth or the fifth or the sixth as the guide. So and that's what we've both done. I mean, Coney Fizz, you couldn't get a more consistent filly than Coney Fizz. I've got her performing 110 and 110, and here she's 110. So she runs like clockwork, Coney Fizz. Now, some people will say, well, she keeps winning and you're keeping her at the same rating. She's going to need to perform and win against better horses than this if she wants to become a 111, 112, 113 filly.
Or spread the margin.
Or increase the margin. She's
Increase the
only won
margin,
by
yes.
I mean, if you look at the finishes, it's a neck, 3/4 of a length, and a head, and 1.5. They're all incredibly bunched together in the race. So it's very difficult to say, oh well, Coney Fizz, this is her best ever performance. I think it's as good as her best ever performance, but I don't think it's better.
Yeah, it's the same situation. It's hard sometimes to explain to people that there's no accumulation in winning. So you don't deserve a bonus of 2 pounds more because you won again. So it's not like a penalty that we have in handicaps. It's not like so.
Yeah, you don't get a bonus for winning, do you?
Yeah, no, not not a penalty.
Yeah. And also the other thing that worried me a little bit about the level of the race were the sixth and the seventh horse, because this is their first time they've run in a group one black type race. So they're coming from a lower level, and we've got them improving for sure on what they've done in the past, but to start putting Bella Marietta and Herd Immunity in on 105 and 106, that's too soon for what they've achieved so far. But the one thing that we will both do, and I think all of the other OSAF handicappers will do, is we'll keep looking back at this race and see how they all perform next time. And if you find that Coney Fizz performs to 112 next time, and Matana performs to 111, and the third 110, the fourth 110, and they all show improvement, we'll go back to this race and maybe upgrade it.
Yeah, but the problem is that we have to finish our season, which is
and we don't, and so we won't know. So this is what they're going to get this figure for the end of your season, but it might be in 6 months' time we look back at this race and say, well, actually, we could have it higher. But that's the same. That sort of thing happens all over the world. When horses run at the end of their season, you're stitched really. That's all the information you've got. And when you get more information, but it does work both ways, because if we were in a situation where they all ran poorly next time, well, it's equally too late to drop the level of this race because it's the end of the season. So sometimes you win and sometimes you lose.
Yes, that's exactly what I think. I think, as I told you guys before, that probably to the 3-year-olds, it's unfair It's the case of Conifis. Maybe if the classifications for 3-year-olds closed with more 6 months, but the scenario would be maybe to the wrong side, but would be clear to all of us. Well, our summer is in the end of the year, in the beginning of the year, and your summer is in July, so
Yeah.
we cannot change this.
Yeah. So we just have a situation where the Northern Hemisphere work on a January to December situation, and you guys work on a July to June situation.
Yes, and that's because of the summer. So
Yeah, exactly. So it's the same. Although it sounds different, we're still working we're consistently with each other because the Northern and Southern Hemisphere have different summers.
exactly.
Should we move on to the Presidente da República?
Yes, let's.
And in many ways, for me, this was the most interesting race because we had to promote the winner a large amount.
Yeah, which is interesting. He only had 3 races before this one, so he's an improver, and that's why it's not too shocking, in my opinion, go up with him. So that's that. Again, we have 3-year-olds.
Yeah.
In first 3 positions: Dopodomani, Vitruvian, and Olympic Orkut. Not Korkut, it's Orkut.
Yeah.
And then we have a 5-year-old in a 4th position. He was a Grade 1 winner 2 seasons ago. So the only one who is improving
Is the winner.
is the winner, because Vitruvian, he had a Grade 1 winner before, beating Olympic Orkut, the 2nd horse. So he had, at least for us, for me, he had a 112 before. I think for you it was 11. So
yeah,
I have the level. My pre-rating of Olympic Orkut was 11, and Vitruvian, I had 112 before, but since he was not performing at that level, I had him like 10, but he achieved again the level that I had before. So that's why I didn't consider like shocking promoting Dopodomani to 13.
Yeah. My problem horse was Vitruvian, because it's his rating is 112, but it's a very, very long time since he performed to that level.
Yeah, almost 10 months before.
Almost, yeah, not far short of a year. So I was just a little bit uncomfortable to say that he's performed to his 112. Olympic Cut, I felt a little bit sorry for him because I think he's a solid 111 horse. And then the 4th horse, Ushua Ibiza, again, he didn't do it last time, but he did run well the time before that. But then again, we've got another one of these horses, the 5th horse, and I'll let you pronounce that one for us, Ricardo.
Sei que vou te amar, which means I know I'm gonna love you.
Oh, right, okay. So I know you're gonna love him. You know, he's come from sort of from lower races. This is his first race in a group contest, and again, we're always just a touch cautious the first time they run in a group contest. I mean, in fairness to this guy, you know, he's run a really, really good race for his first time in a group race.
Yeah, he was, in fact, Sei que vou te amar, as a 3-year-old. The trainer was doing like great during the weekend. So, you know, like the Johnstones in England nowadays, those horses running, they improve their level all the time. So, and it's a 3-year-old. It's going to 104 for me. So which is even not going into the South American classification. So I didn't think it was like a big deal, you know, to have him
Sure. Sure.
going 104.
Sure.
And the horses that were beaten way below those ratings. And Doppeldomani, as I told you, it was his fourth start. In his
Yeah.
fifth start, he was placed in the grade 2 in São Paulo, the Presidente da República, when Mr. Man was the winner. And now he overcome Mr. Man by far. Mr. Man was the favorite in this race in Rio, and showed to me that it was no fluke, Doppeldomani being placed running for the third time. He was leaving the maiden races directly to the grade 2, and he was placed in a race with no pace, and he was coming from behind. And then you know that I was at the television at the GP Brazil day, and I told the guys that Doppeldomani would be my second choice, and he was like an outsider because nobody believes, but he proved that race in São Paulo was good enough, and facing better pace, he showed the turn of foot that he has. So now he's going to step further to 2,000 meters in a grade 1 in August in São Paulo. Let's see.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think, you know, the other thing that you've got on your side here, Ricardo, is renewed hope, right? Who you had performing to 104 last time, and you've got him performing to 104 this time, you know, and everything fits very neatly, you know. I was very, very close to going 113 myself. I just was a little bit nervy about such a big step up for such an inexperienced horse. This is and again, you know, you have your classifications obviously to worry about, and you'll go with your figures, quite rightly so, right? But it would be no surprise to me when these horses start running again in September, October, November, that I've got to put this. I'd be no surprise if I have to put the level of this race up because they all perform better in the future. You know?
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah.
And we have the 2,000 meters now, which is like the eclipse. You know, you have the
Sure.
minor horses going
Sure.
against
Yeah.
horses
Yeah.
coming from 2,400. Is like the winner of the mile, Doppeldomani, going against going together because they are the same. They have the same owner, Dream Alliance, who was the winner of GP São Paulo in 2,400 meters. They will be together running 2,000 meters, and probably Valparaíso is going to be at that race. And let's see, it's going to be interesting. That's why we love horse racing, because it's
Absolutely.
and
It's dynamic, yeah.
yeah.
And so for people who are thinking, well, I wonder why Phil is one lower than Ricardo here. My little concern was it's a long time since Vitruvian had performed to that level. So I'm a little bit cautious. I've given him 111, right? But I'm more than happy to be proved wrong over the next month, 2 months, 3 months, and see him maybe perform to 112 or potentially even higher. But I think I mean it's interesting that Doppeldomani beat Vitruvian here by a head. What do I think? I think if Doppeldomani runs against Vitruvian again in 3 or 4 months, the margin will be bigger.
Probably. Let's see. Probably. And it's a horse that is trained in Paraná, going to Rio. It's different. He wasn't and Vitruvian was at home. You know what I mean? So maybe the difference between them is higher, but
Yeah.
it's the difference, the real difference was like a nose. You remember you were there. It
Sure.
was a brilliant finish, 3 horses, and of course it's impossible to give in this case more than 1 pound between them. So
Sure. Sure.
that's it.
I think it's interesting, when we look at our interactive system and we look at what other people have done around the world. If ever I'm one higher or one lower than other guys around the world, I'm perfectly happy with that. I start to worry if I'm 2 or 3 different from other people around the world, and then I'll have a second look and think, now hang on a minute, that's quite a big gap between what they've got and what I've got. So I'll have a second look then and maybe reevaluate. But when you're only one different, it's insignificant. And what'll happen is all these horses will run again, and they'll prove us right or they'll prove us wrong.
Yeah, and what is interesting, we saw different things. We saw horses keep winning that we uh, cannot go high with them, and we saw some horses winning a big race from not improving too much, and you see the difference. Uh, it's not the same case. It's always every single race. It's another one, and that's fascinating in terms of the way you work. So there's
Sure.
no receipt. There's no even situations. If you see the 2 races almost the same, but then you can find something different. So that's
Absolutely. So of the four races, the 2 horses that I'm looking forward to seeing run next time are Sinsel and Doppodamani. They would be the 2 horses that make me excited for the next time that they run. And I just hope that in the case of Sinsel, I'd love to see whoever rides Sinsel in his next run. I'd really love to see him push the horse and try
into
and
the
win
end.
try
Yeah.
and win by as far as he can. I think what the jockeys need to learn all over the world, not just in Brazil, they need to realise that it's very difficult for handicappers to guess how much a horse is superior to another horse when they stop riding. And nobody's
Exactly.
asking them to hit the horse or anything like that. All we're saying is just keep pushing the horse so that we know for sure how superior your horse is to the second and the third and the fourth. Just keep
I
pushing them.
think I think Leandro, the jockey, Leandro Henrique, will learn from the
Great.
episode. He got a 2 months ban.
So I
The
believe.
suspension. Yeah.
Well, look,
And
we all make mistakes, so let's hope that he gets back on the horse, and next time he pushes him out and he wins by 2 or 3 lengths, and we can give Sinsel the credit that we think he probably deserves.
yeah, remember Pourmois, Michael
Yeah,
Barcelona was the
yeah,
same. So it's
exactly. It happens all over the world on a regular basis. It's not just something that happens in Brazil.
exactly. So Phil, I
So
think we've done.
yeah, I think we've done our 4 races, so hopefully people will find our conversation interesting. You can look at the webinar and be why not start everybody out there who's a racing enthusiast? Why not start keeping your own ratings? That's how I started
Yes.
many about 45 years ago. I started keeping my own ratings and compared them to the official handicappers. So
Yeah.
it's a good way to start.
Exactly. And um, we like this, this feedback. If you do this, because normally in South America we don't have handicaps like in a proper way, like in England, like in Australia, like in Hong Kong, like in France. So our culture is not that about handicaps, but I think as much as we can talk about this, is better to the public.
Absolutely, absolutely. Great. Well, lovely to see you, Ricardo, and I'm sure we'll meet up in the next few weeks at some point. Hope for the best.
Thank you, Phil.
Take care now. Bye.
Take care.